FM.
The #1 FM talk radio station in the Inland Empire.
KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. Express 106.5 FM.
Hello, Raphael Davis here of D&D Capital Solutions on the Real Man of Real Estate. I'm glad to be back here in the studio, and today I have two special guests. If you've caught any of the past shows, they've been guests on here before, and now I have them here together. So my partner Stephen Darling of Your Darling Lender, and Victor Bell of Bell Capital. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Doing great, man. Thanks so much for having us.
Oh man, hey, I'm excited to have you guys in here in the studio with me today on the Real Man of Real Estate. To the audience and everyone listening, these are like probably my two favorite people. I've known Stephen here for many years. He and I go way back. A little side note: I was actually the best man at his wedding, so that's how well I know him. And Victor, I met Victor a little while back, and man, his concepts, some of his books, because he is a published author, have completely changed the way I look at real estate, from an investment standpoint. And it's also influencing the way me and my partner Steve move forward with our private money side of things, the company. But I'm gonna turn it over to them and kind of let them introduce themselves for you guys.
Hey guys, Stephen Darling here. As my friend Raphael mentioned, been in the industry for almost 21 years, multi-state broker. I've always done both sides, kind of ages me, but always put a special focus on the finance. So that's kind of where I've always geared my thoughts and engaged towards all the different types of financing, and it's exciting to me to get to learn and to understand and get to experience new things, which it comes with the hard money, the investment side of stuff that I'm getting to learn from Victor, and then working with Raphael. He's teaching me so much about the rental side of the hard money, the fix and flip, all the stuff. I had flipped 50 houses, but I never understood how all that financing side, the debt worked on that. And now I get to take a closer look at that, not only take a closer look at it, but help people with those types of projects, land acquisition to a complete finished development project, 100 units, whatever the case may be. It could be anything, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. Of course, we're always focusing in on the residential, conventional, VA, FHA, non-QM, all that fun stuff is where I put most of my focus to make sure that we can help as many people as we can in that realm. And we stay focused on the residential real estate side. That's always been my specialty. So I always stay focused there, kind of mold with the market, but also always excited to learn new things because I don't like to ever get stagnant. Always got to progress.
Gotcha.
So that's a quick little spiel about me. I'll turn it over to Vic.
Thanks, man. No, that's cool, man. It's great to get to know people and what they do and what they like to do. Again, Victor Bell, Bell Capital. I've done about $57 million worth of real estate myself, best-selling author. Probably the thing I'm most proud of is meeting guys like you guys now, like in my career. Because, when I hear about some of the stuff you guys do, I'm only now in my career where I can sit down and I can actually talk to lenders to the capacity where before, like I was like kind of a boots on the ground guy. We were about buying deals, and I was kind of managing the teams, making sure everybody does their job management, my project managers, buying stuff. But to sit down with people who are now in the capacity like you guys are lending money, you guys are eating, sleeping, breathing these things. It's always a blessing for me, right? Because what I've said on other shows, we're partners.
Right.
Like you can't do this business, one without partners, two without capital.
Right.
So the deal is senior, but it doesn't mean that all the other pieces of any deal, which is the debt and the equity and all the players that come around to help support each other on the journey, like it's vital.
Right.
So this is great for me because I get the opportunity to talk shop and also share with anybody listening to the show. You know, any way that I can help out, be it knowledge and or, you know, really support what you guys are doing too.
Gotcha.
Because man, you can't do it without it. You can't. You know,
Right.
can't create wealth without debt.
Right.
Period.
Yeah, it's one of those necessary things, right?
Right. Not real wealth.
Well, and as he stated that fact, you know, that's kind of where I've always was intrigued, because in real estate, whether it be commercial, residential, income building, whatever the case may be, unless you were born with a trust fund that had $100 million in it, you're gonna need financing. And that's why I always wanted to learn it, understand it, so that we had the availability to help. And there's so many facets of it that it's so interesting. Most people don't realize that, understand that. And most conversations we have, we get to explain a little bit of that, because it's super confusing unless you do it. But when you get to sit down with guys like these, you know, you get to really talk shop, like Vic said, and it gets to be a really fun conversation. And so we're here to hopefully express a little bit of something that may catch your ear and help if possible.
Right.
Absolutely, and that's what I like, and that's kind of how this format is very, very simple, guys. I just want to have a conversation with you guys. Like I said, when we first started here, you know, I got my two favorite guys here that I really admire being around, and I learned so much from. You know, I know Steven stressed, you know, what he's been learning from me, but man, over the course of the time we've been in business together, I've learned so much from him and watched him do so many deals, and even writing up contracts. You know, just little things like that. You know, and I know I've talked to you, Vic, before about, you know, contracts, and I think I sit in on one of your webinars. I'm not sure about, maybe it's been about contract writing, or maybe it was an investment school and different things like that. But, you know, we kind of touched on it a while back on another show that we was on, and that was about, you know, having the professionals, you know, with you. And the good thing about these gentlemen that I have in the studio today, they are true professionals in their field. You know, one of them happens to be my partner, but I learned so much from him. With that, I'm gonna kind of turn it a little bit, and we'll get into some of the numbers, because I know everyone always wants to know rates. You know, and I know they're gonna keep wanting to know rates. But, you know, one thing I heard Vic say on another show we were on is that, you know what, doesn't matter. You know, even if the rates were at 12%. 12% sounds good if you need money, and there's no more money anywhere else to be had.
It's the cheapest money around.
It's the cheapest money around. You know, at 12% if that's what's needed. You know, so real quick to touch on rates, Steve, what's your thought on? Let's just give me a quick snapshot of say 24 months. What do you think we're going to be looking at?
You know, the crystal ball that I checked this morning.
We all have a crystal ball.
In the next 24 months, without a doubt, we know beyond a doubt the Fed is rising. The Fed has risen. It's going to continue to rise. And, you know, they're hopefully they will do some up and down, and we'll see some leveling out and maybe a slight drop and then go back up. But without a doubt, rates are increasing. They're going to continue to increase. The biggest question to me more so is, you know, what is the purpose for what it is that you're trying to accomplish or what you need? And then the biggest question I get from everybody is, there going to be a recession? I'm just going to wait for the market to crash, then I'm going to buy. There is never a better time to buy than right now. Mm-hmm. Right. And that is to be repeated
Amen.
Daily.
Right.
And so when it comes to recession, yeah, there might be a slight drop. Equity always goes up. Real estate's the number one investment in the world. You give it its time. Rates are going to increase a little bit, but depending on what you need it for, if you got your money out and you refinance and you got a 2.375 or 2.5 or 3% or whatever the case may be 6 months ago, and you accomplished your goal and you're set and you don't need to make any changes, then you're good to go for a while. Let everything happen and see what occurs. But if you're in a position where you need to get money out to remodel, pay off debt, whatever that case may be, start investing. Right now, the equity is the highest it's ever been, ever. And so you have money available to invest, to create future wealth, to create generational wealth. If you have kids and you want to create true success, that's something you might want to think about. All those types of things are available to you, and it's still going to happen in this market, regardless if it goes up or down. Rates are going to go up, but that doesn't mean you're not going to have the availability to accomplish the goals you want to accomplish.
Right. You know, and I talk to people about that too, especially from an investor standpoint. Right? It's called trapped equity. You know, you can Google it, look it up. But the you know, just because I can't show people on my phone, right? I always love to look up definitions and read them, so I'm not just making them up. But if you want to look up, it's called trapped equity. So a lot of people, when they have homes and they have all this equity trapped in their home. Let's say you have 400 grand or 300,000 trapped in your home. Like, if you were to get that money, and you actually were to put that money to work for you, like at no point, you know, the average person isn't going to make $300,000 a year, right, at their job. Like that's like, you know, a certain percentage of this country. But if you were to take that money and let's say put it in, invest it in some multifamily property where it's kicking off 5% return on that money. So let's, and we'll use your example. Let's say, you know, it costs you 2%, 2.5, let's say 2.5, 2.753, and you're making 2% on that money. You're not making any money off of that 300 grand trapped in your home, right? But, you know, that money now sitting will make you 2% if you're in the right investment, if you know what you're doing, and or you invest with somebody who knows what they're doing, right? I mean, there's that. But this is, again, that's how wealth has always been created, right? Somebody has something that's went up in value. They take that equity, you know, whether it's a business or their home, and they tap that equity and they roll it into something that continues to pay them, that they're not using now working income for that. You know, we talk about that all the time, and you've heard me talk about it, about building wealth. There's four incomes. There's working income, residual income, passive income, and equity. So at some point, if you're an entrepreneur, investor, or anybody, you have to be focused on the four incomes. And like you said, if equity's trapped in the house, that's an income that you can use to continue to make investments in and go from there.
So grow your wealth.
Absolutely, guys. So there it is. Don't leave that income trapped in the home. But hey, listen, we're going to take a quick break, real quick, from the Real Men of Real Estate. And we will be back shortly, so stay tuned. We'll be back, and I'll be sitting here, Raphael Davis, with Stephen Darling and Victor Bell. Talk to you soon.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services, including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career.
Because they actually have experience working in the field.
The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Hi, this is Steve Matley. As a construction professional, I know the importance of selecting the right contractor for the job. Power Solar employs only professional installers. Power Solar will provide a knowledgeable consultant to help analyze your current electric bill, identify site placement, and correct solar technology for your home. Contact KCAA Producer at gmail.com for a free financial savings proposal with no obligation, or call 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Again, that's KCAA Producer at gmail.com or 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken.
Okay, and we're back. Raphael Davis with Real Men of Real Estate of D&D Capital Solutions, here with my partner, Stephen Darling, your Darling Lender, and Victor Bell of Bell Capital. So if you're just tuning in, Man, we're off to a great start today. It's amazing, man. These guys, I've said it before, and you'll hear me say it again. My two favorite guys to be sitting in the room with. We could sit here and we could talk all day, you know. So luckily we have these commercial breaks. If not, we just keep going and going and going. He said, those guys over there never shut up, you know. So before the break, you know, we were touching in. Victor talked about trapped equity. You know, we kind of touched in on that. So equity just kind of sitting there and it's not gaining you anything. You know, I think we should kind of elaborate a little bit more on that. I mean, I'm sure we can talk about it all day. I don't want to take up too much time with it, but
Victor's perspective on this and for instance, in my own personal life, you know, just recently refinanced, pulled money out of my house, and it was not necessarily for anything but to look at future investments. And my wife didn't understand, and it was hard for me to explain it to her, what I was trying to do, what I was trying to gain. And the way Victor put that, it would, if I could steal his words and then talk to my wife about it, it probably have gone a little smoother. But I'm gonna let him elaborate a little bit on that, because the way he put it, it's very intelligent. It's a great way to look at any equity you have in your house. To me, I always call it dead equity. If you're not using it, it's dead.
Dead, right.
You should be using it because you can create future wealth. You can use it to accomplish something good.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm looking for it. But I know, okay, and I'll find it, so, you know, don't quote me. I may be a little off on this, but there's trillions of dollars trapped in homes of equity in our country, or probably across the world. So, like, I know that's the largest sum of capital trapped. And it's if I'm not mistaken, it's college debt and equity in homes. Those are the two biggest center points of where capital's sitting. So I mean, if you think about that, like you said, it's like, look, trapped equity. If you have any amount of capital in your home, I'm not saying to run out and tap it and then go on vacation. I'm talking about investing.
Right.
So that's a big thing. You know, and this is my opinion again, but people do it for this. You know, but I'm not looking at it from a homeowner perspective. Like, even somebody says, okay, I'm going to refinance my house so we can do some renovations. Like, for what? Are you going to sell it? Because at some point you're reinvesting back in your home as an investment now, and what is that going to yield you?
Right.
You know, because, you know, some people, and I have some friends that's done, they've just sold their homes. They're like, you know what, you're right. I sold my home. It's what I made. I dumped that money into another property, and then I kept rolling that money, and we got $1 million, and we wouldn't even know. Right. But kind of like you said, like when you stop and you start looking at it as an investor and what you're trying to build with the money, it's different. And here's the reason why that's dangerous. Trapped equity to me is dangerous, and we know we've seen it. We're going to see it. We're going to see it like we talked about
next few years.
Recessions, right? Because for just values. Let's say, for example, I bought my house, or no, let's say my daddy left my mommy and daddy left me a home, and it's worth $1 million, hypothetically, right? Worth $1 million, you know, and I don't owe nothing. You live next door, you owe $800, and I go, you know what? I think I want to move. I don't want to live here anymore. I'm just going to sell it. First person bring me an offer, I'm going to sell. Someone comes in at $750 because that person's a bottom feeder and they don't want to offer full price. And I go, fine, $750 is more than I've ever had in my whole life. I invested it, great. Now that $750 is the new marker in the neighborhood, and everyone can dispute it if you want to. But as an investor, I'd be like, yeah, I know they're worth $1 million, but the house next door to you, identical square foot, amenities, all that, $750. You've lost money in your home to no fault of your own because you waited against somebody under different circumstances than you are under. Man, that's scary. I don't want my family's legacy and or investment opportunities taken away because somebody doesn't care. I need to be in control of my future, and you can't do that if you're like, I'm going to wait. You know, I'm not saying, you know, get all the way to the gills in debt, because again, good debt, bad debt. We're talking about debt that actually acquires assets that continues to pay you, right? Or you're expanding your company and your business, which also continues to pay you. But that trapped equity can be utilized for that, because that's everyone's like, where do I get the down payment from? Man, sometimes it's in your own, what do you have now you can sell or tap into to generate revenue so you can invest it?
Absolutely.
Right? If you're an investor. Now, we're not talking, you know, there's make money and then there's invest money to make money. People who need to make money, go get a deal, turn and burn it, sell it, whatever. But if you're going to invest money and you're like, hey, where do I start? You know, you can raise money. One way to raise money is through you guys. Call, hey, you know what would it be for me to refinance my property up to, let's say, 85%, 80%? Now you start, you're like, okay, here's what it's going to cost you. Here's what you're going to need to do. And then like,
and this is what you get, and this is the amount of working capital you have to create something.
Absolutely.
I mean, and you started somewhere, you know,
Absolutely.
and you learned, and you gained this wisdom, and became a best-selling author in regards to investing. I just heard a story from a guy my wife works with. He bought a condo back in, maybe 15, 20 years ago, whatever. He paid it off. It was only worth at the peak of the market $350, a little one-bedroom condo. But that $350, even as the average person working an hourly job, he took that hourly job. He had bought a property. He took some money out of his property, used it as a down payment to buy a condo, rented it out. The rent paid for the mortgage, and lo and behold, 20 years later, he made $400,000, and now he's set up to retire and live an okay life, not worried about just living off Social Security, this or that, because he took that initial step and made at least one investment.
Right. Absolutely.
And so you start somewhere. The average person, anybody can do it. Just start somewhere. If you own a home, you're in a great position right now. It will run out. Like he said, that trapped equity will go away, or it will get lowered at some point in time in the near future. But not telling you to go right out and do it right. You look at your circumstances. But
there's some assessment.
Like you said, the debt, if you use, you're creating debt, but it's diminishing debt if you have an investment that's paying it off or paying for itself or creating a yield, a profit for you. So you just have to look at it from those standpoints.
Yeah. And if you think about it, let's say somebody has $250,000, and you correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna do my fast math. $200,000 times, what's it? I'll just use 4% on the rate. $8,000 divided by 12 months. Your payment's roughly about $700, right? Roughly. And I know you guys
interest only.
I use interest only.
Yeah.
So okay, but let's just say that. Fine, $1,200.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Dude, it costs you $1,200. Like you tell me right now where you can get that to happen. Now you take that $200,000 and you put it down on 20% down on another property.
Yeah.
Right. Now that property, let's say I don't know. Let's say you can rent it out for like $2,400.
At least.
Right.
Southern California, $3,500.
Right. And that's what I said. I'd like to use affordable things. Like, could you expect to pay $2,400? Yeah, absolutely. Could people expect to pay $2,700? Yeah, absolutely. Right. But the whole part about that was like, I went interest only. That was like $600.
Right.
We doubled it for PITI, right?
Yeah. Right. So now we're that's from the conventional side. Because on the private side, it is interest only.
Yep. There you go. Right. And you say, hey, look, can you give me 3 years on this? Yeah, absolutely. We can give you 3 years. How are you going to pay us back? I'm going to sell it. I'm going to refinance it and put long-term debt on there.
Right.
Boom. So like it's and I apologize, I'm talking quickly because I geek out on this stuff, but the reality of it is like really when I'm talking to somebody, especially like even on big deals, small deals, where people are like fighting for pennies. Like first, buy low, sell high is dead. So I'm just gonna say that. You can mark it down, you can hate me for it, but it's buy high, sell higher. So because if you think you're gonna show up right now in today's world or the next,
right,
it ain't gonna happen. Yeah. So, and from that capacity, though, it's like, all right, lost my train of thought. But the reality of it is if that's the thought, that's what it was. Like people were talking about the buy low, sell high, moving into the buy high, sell higher. That's where we are today.
Yes.
Right.
Because like the prices that everybody's waiting for, like this recession thing, think about it. If properties on the average are residential $1 million on the average, right?
Yeah. Right.
If you think they're going to drop back down to 3 and 4, it's not going to happen.
No.
Like for one, the country won't let this happen. The government won't let it happen. Like
inflation won't let it happen.
You won't. Yeah, it just won't happen.
Decrease enough.
Things will level and maybe flatten, just right where they are. But they're going to continue on. So at some point, and we'll move into now the investor side of me. You ain't going to get a deal like that. I won't even take your call.
Right.
You call me. You go, hey, would you? What's that? What's the least amount you can take? What? I think you have the wrong number. Right. So when you approach anything like that from the front, like think about it. If I call you, go, hey, what's the least rate you can give me? You'd be like, did you call the right number? like is this did you call D&D Capital or my darling lending?
Right.
So that said, like between looking at property and saying, okay, could we get this amount of money? What is that money really costing me? What can I actually do with that money? And to be able to use that money, because again, we're talking about buying wealth building assets and or real estate. You're not buying a shirt that you're going to ball up and throw in the wash and laundry. You're buying something that's going to be with you 10, 20, 30 years. Like you said,
possibly generational.
Yeah, short-term loans, can we refinance it? But that doesn't mean you're going to get rid of it.
Right.
So it's important for people to know, especially when dealing with guys like you that understand the financing side, that investors and people who are looking at investments are coming on board because we want to do business with you guys long-term. Right? That we are looking
and
for
that's
ways
the
to make
ultimate
it
goal
work.
for both of us.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want as well. We want to work with guys that understand that, and then are looking to accomplish as many investments as possible per year to continue to grow that wealth and to build a portfolio. And or we're here for that, for the family man as well, that wants to buy the one investment to create the retirement, or two properties or three or whatever it is to give each one of their kids, whatever the case may be. There's the possibility for it all, but there is no possibility if you don't use your equity.
Right.
Gotcha, guys. And it's like, I think I heard you say this before, Vic. Hey, just start.
Absolutely.
Don't put it off. Just start. And that's how it happens. So with that, guys, we're going to take another quick break. And we'll be back with the real men of real estate here, Raphael Davis with Stephen Darling and Victor Bell. See you after the break.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services, including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career.
Because they actually have experience working in the field.
The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Hi, this is Steve Matley. As a construction professional, I know the importance of selecting the right contractor for the job. Power Solar employs only professional installers. Power Solar will provide a knowledgeable consultant to help analyze your current electric bill, identify site placement, and correct solar technology for your home. Contact KCAA Producer at gmail.com for a free financial savings proposal with no obligation, or call 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Again, that's KCAA Producer at gmail.com or 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken.
Okay, Raphael Davis back here again, the real man of real estate, Raphael of D&D Capital Solutions, with my man Stephen Darling and Victor Bell. We here in the studio, having a great session, great talk. If you're just tuning in, man, you're in for a treat. A lot of information is going out. Chiming in before we took the break, I just want to point out, because we were talking always about the interest rates. Everyone talks about it. We always say it, and something that I often say a lot, and I tell my clients is, I said, how do I word it? I say the right strategy, right, with a competitive interest rate will beat the lowest interest rate with the wrong strategy all the time, right? And the reason why I'm saying that is because we're here, and Victor's in the building, and he is an investor. So, he could attest to strategies. You have to strategize, when you start to invest. And Steve, from the conventional side, when you bring us your profile, what I mean by that, when you fill out your application and get started and get going, and we look at your profile, whether you're ready to buy that day, that week, we build a program for you. We start to strategize immediately so that we can make sure that you become a homeowner, right? That's what we want. With that, I'm going to kind of switch gears here a little bit, and because we have two, business owners and professionals, longtime professionals in the building, I want to ask them both the same question, and whichever one of you guys want to take it first, you can. And I'll start off the question with, what's the one thing you wish you had known when you began your career? I have my take on this also. I'll chime in right there at the end, but I'll let you guys start with that. So to repeat that question, what's the one thing you wish you had known when you began your career or when you began your career?
Thank you, Vic, for letting me start. In regards to that question, just the first thing that comes to mind is wishing I knew that's the career that was going to be my career. I wish I would have understood that I was going to not only be able to not only love it, because anything you choose to do, give it your very best, give it 100%. Right. No matter what job you do, give it 100%. So I've always had that mentality. That's the mentality that I coached with. That's the mentality that I put onto my family. Whatever you do, you better give it your best. And so I found myself in this industry back in 2002, 2003, and been in it many years later, lots of ups and downs, lots of stresses, lots of successes. And here I am, a business owner, multiple business owner, accomplishing goals. They may not be, my business may not compare to some others, might be minute, but to me it's huge. And I accomplish goals each and every year that are set forth and that are decided on. And it is something that to me brings great joy and excitement. I just wish I would have known this was the path that I would have been taking, because there were things that I would have done much sooner that would have probably created an even more successful experience, a successful path, met more people, good people like Raph and Vic that helped make me a better person. And I would have been able to create a business or businesses that are even more helpful to those out there as we progress into the future, because that's our ultimate goal. That's right. To me, that's the one thing I wish I would have known, is that I would have been sticking with this, because I would have made, hopefully made some other decisions.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, man, that's a great question. For me, in the beginning, I actually, instead of starting with where I was, I would have actually started where I wanted to go. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like, I knew I wanted to get into bigger projects. I knew I should have been raising money. I knew I should have been using debt. But because I got into the business as a really to survive, right? Like, to a real estate investor. So it was a lot of like, okay, get what you think you can get based on what you currently have, which at the time was like nothing. So knowing that, and I raised money and I got partners and I did all that other stuff, but I kind of did the deals that my partner would allow me to do at the time, because they weren't the best properties, or C properties, D properties. I was the manager. I learned a lot. But really looking back, my career shaped its way towards the deals that I really wanted to do. So that's huge for me. Nice properties, nice locations. Places where I actually liked. A lot of the information and advice I got when I first started was bad information for me, coming from well-meaning people. Well, get these properties, make them, do this, do that, get what everybody else can get, go where everyone else is. That's never worked for me in my business, and all of my business challenges have come from advice by well-meaning people who was just bad advice for me. It was their advice for themselves, and I took it for face value. So I think that cost me probably about 10 years of my career, unnecessarily working with things that I probably shouldn't have no business touching anyways.
Gotcha. I've heard this little saying, in reference to you saying working with those people, they have good intention, but they have bad advice. And a guy told me once, he said, sometimes, people can be very sincere about what they're saying and what they're telling you, but at the same time, they can be sincerely wrong. Right? So that's one of those things. And for me personally, two things. I wish I would have, one, stuck with it, even while I was doing other things, because I mentioned in an earlier show a while back that I took a break from the business to do martial arts and different things like that. Joked about my little nickname, the Hard Money Black Belt, Now the hard money is hard money to beat because we have so much capital now that we could actually lend from.
Right.
But I wish I wouldn't have taken that break for one, because I still could have did those things. I still could have did martial arts and still stayed in this field. And the one thing that I didn't do early on is when I was just starting out, I think I should have got a mentor, or something like that. That's one of those things. If I can do it over, I would go back and then I would just attach myself to someone's hip who's gonna do it or who's been doing it for a long time,
right?
And have them mentor me. I've never had a problem with investing in myself. So if there's books I want to read, things I want to read, I learn, I pay for them, I buy them. I think now people don't realize how having someone, when you're just starting out in a career, that can help you not make the mistakes or run into those brick walls or pitfalls that some of us had learning the hard way, so to speak. It's no reason. Now we live in a time and in a day where there's no reason to have to learn it.
Hurt your way.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to do that anymore, man. So like even like with you guys now, that's why I'm always asking you questions. I'm always still learning.
Right.
So I think that's valuable, and I learned that later on in my career. My plan is to be doing this until I can no longer do it. Probably transition into being a full-time investor one day, traveling the world, but I'll still be doing real estate. So that's the one thing that I wish I can do over, if I had a do-over.
Right.
So
right. Absolutely.
One other question that I want to ask you guys, and we'll get through this, and we'll try to make it quick, because I know we're going to have to take a break here pretty soon. Hopefully I don't mess up, run too much into it. But if you have to think about it, what was your biggest failure, and what did you learn from it? We'll start with you, Vic.
My biggest failure, wow. That's a loaded one, man. Because I've had some non-successes, but I've never really failed because I haven't quit.
Oh,
so a lot of things that I've done that may not have worked out the way that I wanted them to, or anything like that. Like I'm a big person on responsibility. So like even things that didn't work out well, I'm always like, man, that's my responsibility. That money that got drained out of my account, I should have been more attentive. So so to take it from that perspective, again, it's always the same. I should have went bigger sooner. I didn't have to do the small deals. Everyone says start where you're at. I'm like, well, just go raise the money. Like I should have been I took too long to go bigger, which I eventually did. I tried to do it all by myself. I wanted to own 100% of every deal. That's slow motion. I wasn't going off and getting partners. That was another thing that I did. These are failures of mine. And last but not least, I should have always been raising money. Like not just in a small way, but in a big way. In other ones, I probably should have never sold some of the great properties that I did have. I should have still had them, right? Should have bought out partners that didn't want to be in the deal anymore, all of that stuff. But as it relates to huge failures, any one that sits in my mind, I don't. I'm big for letting stuff go. You got to have a short memory in this business. Yeah, I don't have a lot of failures because I haven't quit. I mean, I know where I'm going now. But I have had some mistakes that I've made along the way, and I just named them. Those are huge, but probably I failed to go bigger sooner. If I can pick one, yeah, and I'm rectifying that. And I'll never do that again.
Gotcha. Steve, what about you? About a minute and a half before we take a break.
For mine, it's like you said, that's a loaded question. It's tough to think about. For me, I didn't have. I think I can relate a lot to what you said, Raph, is in regards to not having a mentor. Getting in the business so young, I was always, it was instilled in me to be a very hard worker, but my dad passed away when I was young, and so I didn't have anyone helping me, mentor me when I was coming up, and so all of a sudden, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I do okay, and so I did well, and I had some extra money as a young adult, and I didn't use it wisely. I bought expensive cars and clothes and just silly stuff when I should have been investing, and I would be in a much better position than I am now if I would have invested that money, if I would have had someone to speak to help guide me, or been smart enough to invest. I think that's probably my biggest failure was not investing when I could have or should have.
Gotcha. I know we're going to get ready to take another break here real soon. Really quick, I think my biggest failure early on in this career was terrible record keeping, which I've gotten better at. I'll touch on that when we get back here. Just a second. Raphael Davis, Real Men of Real Estate with Stephen Darling and Vic Bell. We'll be back in a sec.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career.
Because they actually have experience working in the field.
The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Hi, this is Steve Matley. As a construction professional, I know the importance of selecting the right contractor for the job. Power Solar employs only professional installers. Power Solar will provide a knowledgeable consultant to help analyze your current electric bill, identify site placement, and correct solar technology for your home. Contact KCAA Producer at gmail.com for a free financial savings proposal with no obligation, or call 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Again, that's KCAA Producer at gmail.com or 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken.
Raphael Davis, Real Men of Real Estate. We're back with Stephen Darling and Victor Bell. Hopefully you've been tuning in. A lot of great information has gone out. If you're just getting started in this career, a lot of great information has gone out. If you're seasoned, it's been a lot that's been said. I just want to do a quick little recap. I'll start with you, Vic, on just a recap real quick of kind of what we went over, something you want the listeners to hear.
Yeah, honestly, like if you're an investor and you're thinking about investing, they should reach out to you guys, like D&D Capital, My Darling Lending. Here's why. Is because, right off the bat, you're going to need money. And it isn't just about you needing money, but as you're looking at investments, you want somebody on your team that, first, it lends you credibility to have somebody look at the deal. Hey, here's what we're seeing. Here's the rate that you're going to be facing. You can get this property, and here's the different ways we can, like you guys said, when somebody aligns with you guys are automatically game planning. They're not realizing when they call, you're in the office thinking about them, and their deal. Like that, man, that's powerful. So, right. I want to kind of push everybody with that thought process in mind to see you guys as potential partners. I do. Right. So I'm going to send over everything I got that relates to what it is that I'm doing that I know for a fact. You guys are going to conferences, learning. You're on conference calls I don't want to be on. You got information that allow me to do my job so you can do yours. Gotcha. So for the investors out there that are even considering this, first, you got to have experience. If you don't have experience, get a management company so that way when they talk to you guys, naturally for somebody to say, hey, I'm going to call, but I got an idea, and you go, do you have experience? You can say, yes, I have an experienced person on my team. Right. That also lends credibility to the investor, and it also helps you guys place them in the right place. So, I really want to push that because it's vital that people understand that.
One of the words that he stated is in my intro email. It goes out pretty much in my intro. Everything is game plan. Mm-hmm. And that is because no matter what your situation is, your goal, what you're trying to achieve, all of it adds up to game planning and setting up something in motion that gets to a result. And we are here to help you. We uniquely created this company so that we have the conventional VA, FHA, non-QM, all of the mortgage products you hear on the radio, you see on TV, all that stuff we have. But that's not what's so unique. We've got the direct lending, we've got the lines of credit, we've got the wholesale brokering, the wholesale lending, we've got real estate advice, real estate company in hand. But it's the also to add to the private money. I don't even know all the names or definitions for it, but you have an idea you want to accomplish, an avocado farm, you want to build a 16-unit apartment building. Whatever that thing is that you want to accomplish that deals with real estate, we have uniquely put together the opportunities, businesses, finances available for you to accomplish that. And we will immediately listen, hear you, and start game planning that plan.
Absolutely. And one thing I'll point out that you both just touched on, one from the private sector, and that's when Vic said about, get you a partner, put somebody on your team. Earlier, in the segment, he mentioned about experience. If you don't have the experience, partner with someone who has the experience, and then stop trying to, if you're just getting new and you're trying to invest, having 100% of every deal, it's not going to work that way. You're going to have to share a piece of the pie or give something to someone. I know from our standpoint, when we're looking, you may have a great property that you just need some money to fix up, like if it's a fix and flip, rehabbing something, construction loan. But if you don't have that experience, unfortunately, we can't give you the money, because we can't give you the money because you've never done it before.
Right.
You can't say, hey man, I got this great idea, I'm going to build 100 units, but you've never built one.
Even the simplicity of just saying, hey dad, can I have $100 to buy a bicycle? You're like, son, you can't ride a bike.
Right. Hey,
so, learn to ride a bike first, and I'll give you the money. Like at some point, that's what it turns into, right?
Absolutely, and that's the way it works, man. And with that, also, I'll tell people, and I say it all the time, and I'm known for saying it. If you find a good deal, don't let it stop you. Find that partner. We call them JV. Get you a joint venture partner. Partner up with them. Just figure out how to make the deal work. Just because, you may not be ready immediately by yourself, but get a partner, bring them on, figure it out, and let us do it for you.
Right.
Let us do it for you because, again, something that was touched on earlier, we're in the business, we want to partner up with you. We don't want to tell you no.
Right.
We want to lend money. We want to originate your loan, so put all the things in place, do whatever you got to do to get us to that point. So we cannot say no to you.
Right, exactly. It's not like Raphael and Steve are like at their desk laughing like, we told those guys no. Like, that doesn't happen in their office. Like, man, like we really looked at every product we have to make sure we get this guy. We like even telling you, like even putting on a show like this to be able to help share with you information so you can do it.
Yep.
Right.
So it's super important. It's I wish this information was available for me when I started. There was no podcast. There wasn't this. It was like you said. There was books and information and stuff like that. But you had to go through great links and really the willingness to want to do it.
Right.
So right now it's never been easier to be able to link up with guys like you and the services you guys provide, and realistically not just on the fact of the service that you provide. The knowledge you offer people, as well as the seeking of knowledge you guys have for yourself, man, I mean, it's impressive. And I don't say that lightly. I really do mean that.
Absolutely, man.
For sure.
Hey,
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, man. Hey, it's been a pleasure having you guys here, man. I enjoy talking to you guys. It's just, it's absolutely just amazing, man. So even here, hosting it and being the person over here getting this together and listening to you guys, man, I'm taking these mental notes. I'm learning.
Me too.
I'm here in the studio. I'm on my computer from time to time, taking care of some things. But private money side for us, visit www.ddcapital.biz. If you're in the San Diego area or now anywhere in the country, if you want a direct number to that, it's 619-279-2522. And if you also in California, go to www.yourdarlinglender.com. If you want a direct number to that, it's area code 619-504-9983. And if you have money to invest and you want to get into a fund, Victor, tell them what they need to do.
Yeah. So it's an accredited only fund. So you got to be accredited only, which means you got to make $200,000 a year, or combined household income of $300,000 a year, or you have $1 million in net worth, not including your primary residence. So, but worst case scenario, you can always reach out to me. You can find me at victorbell.com. You can also get a link to Bell Capital on victorbell.com, which is bell-capital.com. Yeah, so or feel free, Google me, Google Victor Bell Jr., real estate investing, Bell Capital. I pop up everywhere. So I'm looking forward to helping and talking to anybody. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, guys, that concludes this session of The Real Men of Real Estate with Raphael Davis, Stephen Darling, and Victor Bell. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care.
The Legacy. Southern